Hello everyone. I'm sure you're all as happy as we are to be here today. It's been such a wonderful day, weather-wise perfect, and I think everyone looks great, and I'm sure we've all had a wonderful time so far, and this evening will be even better. John and I, John down there, my husband, we're very happy to be here with everyone and to celebrate Steph and Iain's wedding. We welcome Iain to our family, and Diana and Barry and all the Russells too, and we hope to have many happy occasions with them. Steph is a wonderful daughter and we're very proud of her, and I'm sure we think Iain's pretty okay too. And I'm sure she and Iain will achieve great things together. We wish them a long and happy life together, filled with love and laughter. Please raise your glasses for a toast to Steph and Iain.
Thank you very much, Mel, and Iain and Steph, the bridal party, and ladies and gentlemen. If there's anyone I haven't met before, you've just been introduced to me. I'm Iain's dad. I'm Barry. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to the celebration for Iain and Stephanie's wedding. Usually it's normal at this stage to thank people who have travelled a long distance. But Iain and Steph have made sure that I've got to thank everybody because we've all had to travel as far as this wedding is concerned. But I must say, Jai has travelled from overseas, and Steph's sister from northern Queensland and family, and Barbara, John's sister from Coffs Harbour, who've flown down as well. So a special thanks to those people. Sorry? No. Last week, I went and saw The Darkest Hour, and after thinking about that film, I thought, well, Winston Churchill has been known for his quotations, so I went looking to see whether I could find a quote that would be suitable for tonight, and I did find one. The one I found was the most appropriate was, "A good speech should be like a woman's skirt. Long enough to cover the subject and short enough to create interest." As this is the sixth child I've had on my family to speak at their weddings, I think I've had enough practice to keep it pretty short, so I'll be right this time. Both Iain and Stephanie are hard-working, caring and loving adults. They're dedicated not only to each other, but to their families, their friends and their employers. And they are very hard-working. Just think of the organising that took place for this wedding tonight. And I've got to say, Steph, the work that you did on Saturday, Sunday and yesterday with those flowers and all the flowers that you can see around here, that was just incredible. You have... I don't know, was it Iain or Steph, did you do it yourself? Who climbed up to put the leaves around the chandeliers? Because, I mean, that's extra, and that's something that I think was pretty special. Valerie's already said how much they welcome Iain into their family, and I've got to say, we've welcomed Steph into our family and the extended family as well, and I think this looks good for the future because it's not every family that has a very good relationship with their mothers-in-law or the rest of the family, so I think this is a really good start. George Bernard Shaw made one of his very rare positive comments on marriage when he stated, "Marriage is popular because it combines the maximum of temptation with the maximum of opportunity." After listening to some of the speeches last night about Iain and the way that he makes decisions and sticks to them, I've got one piece of advice for you, Iain. When you're discussing, organising, or even arguing with Steph, when you think you're wrong, admit it. But whenever you're right, shut up. May the pair of you never lie, cheat or drink, but if you must lie, lie with each other. If you must cheat, cheat death. And if you must drink, drink with all of us. For we all love you, and we wish you both the love and happiness to which you deserve. Remember, love is the glue that will hold you together, and we wish you enjoyment, the fulfilment of all your hopes and dreams for tomorrow, and happiness forever. Thank you very much.
Well, actually, Steph, you might need some of this for tonight. Yellow. Good afternoon and welcome all. For those that who don't know me, my name's Craig. I'm Ian's younger brother. I'd like to say what an honour it is today to be part of the bridal party. And let me start by saying how resplendent the bridesmaids are looking today. Headed by the beautiful bride Steph, of course. And it would also be rude of me not to mention how dapper the groomsmen are looking. However, now that I look a little bit closer, I see that there's a glaring similarity with three of us. Yep, I thought so. Nice round heads. Ian, didn't you get the memo? We were all coming freshly shaven. Anyway, but seriously, Ian, you scrub off all right, bro. And between the three of us, I think we can keep the spotlight firmly on you. Maybe Aaron, you just turn to the left a little bit. Dave, just tilt to the right and triangulation. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Anyway, what a beautiful day and ceremony we have witnessed today. Where to begin? Well, let's start with Ian, aka Enor, Russ, Rusty, Russ Dog, El Hoppo, the list goes on. But whilst these names are all of his nicknames formulated through the years, the truth about Ian's real name is that Ian was not his name at the start when they formulated the names. Well, just a sec. So the story goes, Mum had the name Trent picked out for Ian, and this name was penciled in right up until Mum made it to hospital for Ian's birth, only to become confronted by the name Trent on the toilet in the hospital room. This turned her off the name Trent for a little bit, but ironically, Trent was still good enough for a number 2 or middle name. Anyway, just over 18 months later, a star was born, and Ian came to the hospital to meet me. He was given a toy to give to me, but upon giving me the toy, he was more interested in the lollies Mum had than to come and meet me and carry on with me. But he must have warmed to me, as from a young age we became very good friends and even better adversaries, as is the case with most brothers. Our competitive side came out in everything we did, from sport to video games, you name it. One occasion comes to mind where we were having a stick fight in the front yard. I suppose we must have thought we were Star Wars characters or something, because we were going at it pretty fiercely, and all of a sudden the stick broke and got impaled in my shin. So we had to interrupt Mum and Dad with their guests, and Dad came out with the pliers, and anyway, you won this round, Ian. But another competition that I'm glad I didn't win was when we battled to see who would get their ears cleaned first one night. You're a little bit bigger, so you won this battle, and I'm glad you did, because your prize that night was a hole in your eardrum. When the liquid was heated a little bit too long and burn a hole in your eardrum. Still got that scar, mate? Yeah, I thought so. Now, we had heard a lot about Steph, this Steph lady, for quite a long time. But when I finally came to meet her one night at Mum and Dad's for dinner, it was great. She seemed very nice and was laughing at all my jokes. At which point I thought to myself, wow, this one might be a keeper, Ian. Steph didn't even flinch when we piled all our plates onto her placemat for clearing, as was the ritual. Steph's only one weakness in my eyes, but was that she shared the same birth date as me. Would I be able to share my day with her? At least, Ian, you should never forget her birth date. Steph shared a tradition with me of buying milk with her birth date on the milk. And for some strange reason, it just stuck with me and I had to go out and buy milk myself with the same date. So this year, I ended up with three milks in the fridge with my birth date and sent a photo to Steph and she said, "You bastard, I don't even have one." Steph is a very caring and thoughtful person and actually made me my first Christmas jumper last year that I've owned in 36 years. We've had plenty of laughs over the years and none more so than when we play Cards Against Humanity. If you haven't played that game, I recommend it. Also, Dad's already mentioned the flowers, but once again, another hand. How beautiful are the flowers today that she's put together. So, Steph, I have a few tips for you to join the Russell clan. The first one, we're always right. I was mistaken once when I thought I was wrong, but like I said, I was mistaken. We've been known to be stubborn. I think it comes from our Scottish ancestry. We're a competitive bunch who are not afraid of sledging or heckling during competition. And the Russell humour, which you've all noticed today. Sometimes it's quite highbrow, so people might not get it. Finally, you have to have a thick skin to join our family. Some tips for Ian. Now, whilst I'm not married sometimes, I feel like I am. And my partner says I never listen, or something like that. My advice here is to pay some ear homage, Ian. Now, the other thing is never go to bed angry. Instead, stay up and fight all night. Now, for those of you who didn't know, Ian used to be quite the violinist. So with that being said, I found this little quote. "Marriage is much like a violin. After the sweet music is over, the strings are attached." So with that, may I ask you all to raise your glasses. Steph and Ian, may your strings stay attached long and your music together sing melodically. Ian and Steph.
Hi everyone, tough act to follow. For everyone that doesn't know me, I'm Jo, Steph's sister. So when Steph was born on a sunny September day, Mum and Dad were thrilled with the arrival of their fourth daughter. And Jack, Mel and I, her other sisters, were equally as delighted. We had a new playmate, someone to dress up, and someone to even up the teams in our backyard netball. But everything changed that day in September. I was no longer the youngest, cutest daughter. Dad says that Steph was the most expensive child they ever had. They had to put an extra story on the house and get a new car for one tiny baby. But for me, that day in September brought about the best change imaginable. I met my best friend that day, and she's been by my side ever since. For those of you who know Steph, you'll know that she's one of the most generous, warm, giving people you'll ever meet. You may also know that she's extremely talented, creative, funny, and to top it off, she's an excellent dancer. No one puts baby in the corner. Because it's her wedding day, apparently I'm meant to share a funny or embarrassing moment about Steph. And I've really thought hard about this one. And I've come up with this. Steph used to be terrified of people with red hair. Growing up on the Central Coast, we had an idealistic childhood. We played outside, we rode bikes, swam in the beach, ate Vegemite sandwiches, Devon and tomato sauce. Life was simple and it was good. One Christmas, we woke early, scrambling to see what Santa had left for us. And Steph had received an almost life-sized doll with bright red hair made from wool. From the minute Steph's eyes saw that doll, her mouth opened and she let out a scream that deafened the whole house. Mum came running, not knowing what had happened to poor little Steph. Steph didn't stop screaming until that doll was removed from the house. I'm not sure whatever became of that doll, but it's safe to say that Steph never received a red-haired doll again. When I was asked to say something at the wedding, I tried to think of heaps of other embarrassing stories about Steph, and that was the best I could come up with. And I think that's the thing about Steph. There's nothing really bad to say about her. I personally believe that some people are put here on earth to teach us things, and I think Steph's one of those people. She has a huge heart. Sometimes I wonder how it fits inside such a tiny person. But it does. Iain, today her heart belongs to you, and I know you'll take good care of it. Thank you for making Steph so happy and being her happily ever after. Today is also the day we get a new brother, and I couldn't have asked for a better one. Iain, you have been warm, friendly and funny since the day Steph introduced you to us. You're a great addition to our family. You make our family functions so much fun. I look forward to many more themed dinners, cocktails, spy drone parties, and Thirsty Merc concerts for years to come. Steph and Iain, congratulations on your wedding day. I hope the years ahead are your best yet. To love, laughter, and happily ever after. To Steph and Iain.
I'm Aaron, I'm Ian's best man. Ian and I have been mates for 33 years. I first met Ian back in 1985 when we both started kindergarten. Ian was always one of the cool kids and always had the latest fashion. I still remember the day he came to school wearing his brand new Reebok pumps. They were way too big, but that was a trend in the 80s. Ian spent the whole day testing out the boots and working out the perfect number of pumps he needed to get the perfect play on the basketball court. You knew Ian meant business if he stopped the game and added a few extra pumps in. You knew he really meant business if he let all the air out and then re-pumped them up to the exact number that he worked out previously for that game. This was the early stages of Ian's competitiveness and determination for perfection. Jump ahead to high school. This was a pretty tame period for Ian. He focused on his school work, kept his head down and worked hard. The effort paid off and Ian earned a scholarship at Wollongong Uni. But after that, things started to change. Through uni, Ian worked hard, but also discovered his love for parties. Not just going to them, but hosting them. He would organise theme parties and invite everyone he knew to come along. He had pool parties, pimp and hoe parties, superhero parties, Hawaiian parties. You name it, Ian has had that kind of party. They weren't just about drinking. He'd always go to the extra effort and organise games and challenges to get everyone involved. Only just a couple of months ago, he organised a nautical party up in Manly that had a game which involved kissing raw fish. Is that correct? Ian was the Van Wilder of the Wollongong campus. Fast forward another decade and we are still mates. With life getting busy, with work, family, we've still managed to stay friends and always organised to get away camping and skiing and catching up over a beer. Lots of stories and laughs. The topic of conversation was always, Ian, how's Tinder? Any new ladies? Are you getting married yet? And Iain was always have a funny story to tell me about the girls. Don't worry, honey, he censored it, you know. But then things began to change. Whenever I'd ask Iain about Tinder and the ladies, he wouldn't say anything. He would change the topic, which was very unlike Iain. I actually started to think he was unwell. Then this girl started showing up on his Facebook page and was tagged in all his posts. That's when I knew he'd found someone he really liked and was fond of. This mystery girl was Steph. The first time I really got to spend time with Steph and get to know her was when they came on a 5-day camping trip with us. This included 2 families, 5 kids and my in-laws. Steph fitted straight in. It was like we'd known her for years. Steph, if you can survive camping with all of us, especially my in-laws, being married to Iain is going to be easy. It was during this trip I realised that Iain had found a great girl. Iain, I'm really glad that you found a great person to spend your life with, mate. I don't even know why I'm getting upset. You know, you spend a lot of time setting yourself up and advancing your career. It's time you enjoyed it. You've been a good... Yeah, it is. Hey mate, you've been a good mate. I don't know many other people that's still friends with their kindergarten buddies, and it's been good to grow up with you all these years, and it's been really great. I'd just like to wish you and Steph, you know, a happy long life together, and lots of kids, and just so I can stop hearing about how good Iain's swimmers are. Can we please make a toast to the bride and groom? To Iain and Steph.
Good evening, everybody. Well, most of you all know me, but let me formally introduce myself. My name is Iain. Also known to some of you, and by the way, I did not collude with my brother on speech this night, and Craig, you've stolen a few bits of material, unbeknownst to yourself. But some of you know me by nicknames, including El Hoppo, Russell, Russo, Tango, Rusty, Rusty Balls, Rugby, Quake Railer. I wasn't going to put that one in, but a couple of people know what that means. Russell the Love Muscle, the man with the massive calves, and Steph, Bunny. Now I know what you're all thinking. Iain, today is all about the bride, my beautiful and stunning wife Steph, but au contraire, it's also about me, a good-looking gentleman with a full head of hair. I'm wearing a waistcoat, but contrary to popular belief, washboard abs, a sharp wit, cracking dad joke back catalogue, and a very humble nature. So let me ask you all to grab a drink if you have not already and settle in whilst I have the next several minutes of your attention. Let me start with the most important bit. How beautiful does my wife look today? Would you believe it has only been 8 weeks since we decided to start planning this wedding? And I'm so lucky that I've had Steph as my teammate. Getting through the weekly traffic light reports, some of you who are project managers will know what that means. I had a run sheet in Excel, would have been about 50, 60 lines, and they're each red, orange or green. But we made it, hun. Nothing but green light from here on. And I think everybody agree, we it's good. It's been a good day. So we smashed it out of the park, and I think, Steph, that's a sign of us for things to come as a husband and wife. Steph and I have been together for 2.5 years and engaged for 7 months now. I'm married for however many hours. Friends have asked us the secret of our successful relationship. I tell them that we take time to go to a romantic restaurant 2 times a week, at least. A little candlelight, some soft music and dancing. She goes on Wednesdays and I go on Fridays. God bless Google. On a serious note though, we would like to thank you all for coming today. Both Steph and I realise what this means for most of you who've travelled far distances, finding babysitters during school time and taking days off work during the start of the week. As we both work ourselves, we just want to ensure you all that we understand and greatly appreciate your presence here on a Tuesday. I believe our lives are who we are, made up of created memories and stories. For me, there are so many fond memories I have of all the folk I know in the room that have shaped me into the man I am today. To name them, we'd be all here forever, but I just wanted to mention just a few that some of you may recall. Starting with the early and formative years, I recall my parents helping me to do the double loop and shoelaces, learning to brush teeth with, and this is for Val, toothpaste. You all don't get that, it's fine, it's a bit awkward, but it's fine. Precariously climbing over side gates and getting my younger brother Craig to follow, or lead in some instances, depending on the height of the gate. Riding bicycles, falling off and getting back on. Getting sent to school in the right uniform shoes, only to halfway down the street, change into runners. Sorry, Mum. Eating soggy tomato and Kraft cheese single sandwiches and throwing cow dung patties at my little sister in the Mannings farm. Craig's already taken the stick fight glory, so I won't go there. Lots of Chinese burns and nipple cripples. To the teenage years of rebellion, I recall some assisted sobering cold showers at parties after too much tequila. Thanks, Ange. Precarious cliff-hugging donkey trails with deadly drop-offs. Breaking international laws with wrong turns in Orlando on the way to the airport. And chili eating competitions that ended up with blinding burns in most orifices. Only 2 pages to go, guys. To the adult, early adventurous years of travelling to foreign destinations with really good friends, learning how to snorkel in Hawaii. Sneaky lefts at Officeworks. 3-hour Quake sessions with the tandoori chicken feast at the end. Presenting it to industry delegates in Montreal with a broken tooth, crawling out of German nightclubs on hands and knees with near-death experiences. Finally falling off rooftop air conditioning units on the top level of Gold Coast apartment complex, resulting in a week-long limp around with a heel fracture, wearing a sombrero. El Hopo, that's right. Behind all these memories is at least someone in the room I've shared a life experience with. But the point is, and the good news for Steph, in that 38 years on the planet, I've certainly not lived a bland nor boring life. I've had a ton of life lessons and wisdom through shenanigans. And I've had plenty of experience and excited about continuing the journey with Steph and create even more memories, radical memories in life together. I promise it will be one crazy adventure with me, Steph. As I mentioned before, this has been a very accelerated wedding plan, and in 8 weeks we've sorted what other folk usually plan in over a year. I've always considered myself a high achiever, and with both an MBA and a PhD, planning a wedding in 8 weeks was no small feat. And by the way, I actually introduced myself to Steph when we first met over a bowl of chips. And she said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Well, you can call me Master Doctor, or you can call me Dr. Master." But I'm sure I remember at the time, if I recall her correctly, Steph just rolled her eyes and just said, "You're just a masturbator." But the point and the reason we're having Tuesday wedding, and the reason we compressed our wedding, as I'm sure most of you know, is family. We're both very lucky enough to come from very close and loving families. Both Steph's parents, John and Val, and my mother and father, Barry and Diana, are here today. Someone said getting old is not for wimps. I'm sure for most of us here, still relatively early in our lives, we recognise maybe a glimmer of what this means. With families, jobs, houses, mortgages, and the pressures of modern world, including Facebook check-ins, it is important to remember that without our own health, it is hard to manage anything else. Both our fathers have recently had their fair dealing of health issues in more recent times. And both Steph and myself and our families are very happy to have them both here sharing our day, and we hope you've enjoyed it also. Now finally, just a few thank yous. Thank you to both of our parents for making us. Pretty sure Steph and myself wouldn't be here having a wedding if they didn't make us. Thank you to John and Val for making me feel very welcome in the family, the Maslems, and your generous contribution to our wedding. Both Steph and myself are sincerely grateful for this, and more importantly, for your presence. To my mother and father, thank you for your help today, always your continued love and support for both of us. I'm certain that this time you'll get another opportunity at grandkids, as Dad talked about previously. In true Russell clan tradition, I'm pretty certain the likelihood of my virility, based on some recent tests that I've had. If you'd like to ask me about that later, I'm more than happy to share the experience. It was an interesting Monday morning before work. Actually, I'll tell a quick joke. I did turn up to the test clinic a little bit late, and of course I walked up in true Iain Russell fashion, looked straight at the secretary's eyes behind the desk, and I said, "Sorry, I've come a little bit late." They just looked at each other, looked at me, and said, "You're a wanker." I said, "Yeah." I'd also like to thank the wedding party for helping Steph and myself with making today run smoothly. To the bridesmaids, you're all stunning today. Thanks for just looking good. To the groomsmen, thanks for making me look good. Yes, I have hair still, so I'm the odd one out. But I am looking to all you lads to teach me about family life, seeing that you're all a few steps ahead of where I'm up to on my journey. So thanks for making today awesome, boys. In particular, I'd like to say thanks to Aaron and Joe for taking the lead at organising a successful Hens and Bucks party last weekend. We both had a load of fun and survived the affairs relatively unscathed, albeit a few interesting photos on social media of me in questionable green attire, thanks to Jai. Some Happy Gilmore strokes, flamingo riding, a blow-up penis, and some Moe champagne in the eyeballs. I can't remember. I'd like to thank everyone who's travelled from the Central Coast, Sydney, Wollongong, North Queensland, and particularly to Jai and Simon for travelling from overseas specifically for the event. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate that. We both really enjoy your company and are stoked you guys could be here. I'd like to thank all the people that helped with setting up today at both the ceremony and the reception, including our wedding MC, Mel. Being a great host for the wedding and the reception. Thanks, Mel. Where's Mel? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mel. Can I get a hand for Mel? Our celebrant, Sue, for making it pretty light-hearted and fun. She was great as a celebrant. To the ushers, Jack, Sean, Finn, Lockie, Aaron and Joe. I think you guys deserve a mention as well. So thanks to the Coffersons. Thanks, boys. To the bump-in team. I didn't know what bump-in actually meant until this. I thought it was something else. But anyway, to Mike, Dave, Peter and everybody else who helped setting up everything today with the Bendooley crew, and also in advance for helping take things down, or the technical term being bump out. Again, a new term for me. The readings from Yasmin and Jack. The Lord of the Rings, Hendrix Hamilton. Thanks, buddy, and good ring job. Our photo champions, our videographers, the band, Alice. Was Alice? She's out the back. All the people who spoke today and made toasts at our wedding rehearsal dinner last night, Paul Burklow and the person who owns this, and all of the wonderful Ben Dooley staff. And then we've had it a couple of times. I'm going to do it again. The flowers. Steph's got awesome talent for floristry. I think everybody knows that. So can I just get another round of applause for Steph and the flowers? And just to wrap up, can I please ask everyone to raise their glasses and toast to my beautiful wife, Steph, and our future happiness as a couple. And Aaron, you're not allowed to order any extra round of coffees or Sam's after the account is formally closed at 10:30. All right, to Steph, thank you.
For the thank yous to Steph Eisen and Kath and whoever else did all the beautiful roses for me. Thank you very, very much. For Fran, for hearing every small detail since we decided to get married 8 weeks ago. Ta. I hope it's everything that you thought. And also for coming under very duress circumstances today. I'm glad you finally got here. Thank you very much for making the effort. It means so much to me. To Jack and Sean for coming all the way with the boys. Finny, good job on the bottles. You did good. Lockie, you're not forgotten either. To Mike and everyone for setting up. Joe, amazing speech. Beck, Erin, love you both. You did an amazing job today. Thank you for being there. Jasmine, for coming down. I really appreciate it. I know that you had a big day today. I cannot tell you what it means for me for you to be here today.
Just everyone for coming.
And for everyone for giving up their Tuesday for being here. I really appreciate it. I know that it was a lot of effort for Mum and Dad. Thank you for everything. Barry and Diana, you've made me feel welcome from the first day. Craig. Yeah.
It's enough on Craig.
What do I say? And Yasmin, love you. I love you. Yeah. And Janine also, you've also just been part of it from the get-go. Thank you for welcoming me and making me survive the Russells. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. And to Ian, love you.